Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, well, not as always, Matt's not here this week, unfortunately.
Oh, you nearly forgot.
What, really? I didn't forget. I was intentionally doing a bit.
No. That felt like you were saving that.
Or I just did it so well that I have you tricked into thinking it was a genuine thing.
No, I know when you're doing a bit.
I was doing a bit there. I mean, you could decide for yourself all you want. I don't really care. But I was doing a bit. Connor's here, in case you didn't hear those screechy ginger tones from across the speaker.
I wonder, does ginger come across on audio? Like, can you tell? Or is it like, oh shit, he's ginger?
No, but that's what makes you scarier. You never know. That's part of the fear. So yeah, we talk about DC Comics on this show, and coming up on this week's show, we actually have a really big show. Matt was here for all the quiet weeks, and the reason why all the weeks this month were quiet and then this month's so big is because at least 2 or 3 of these books were delayed from previous weeks. So coming up on this week's show, we have Batman Superman issue 1, which is obviously our big new number 1 of the week. Although, funnily enough, this was also a delayed issue. This was meant to be like week 1 or 2. Until it got pushed for whatever reason. Although it's consistently staying at this week now, I think, for the rest of the issues. So it's not so much. I mean, it technically got delayed, but it's more like they just changed their mind as to what part of the month they want it to be in. So they just moved it.
I think that is more likely.
Yeah. We got Action Comics 1014, Wonder Woman 77, Superman 14, which was delayed, The Flash 77, Justice League 30, which was also delayed, Batgirl 38, Justice League Dark 14, Dial H for Hero number 6, and Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 2 are the books we're going to be talking about. You might notice the absence of the Terrifics that came out this week. Connor's not been reading that anyway, so that's on me. Basically, there was too many books. I also owe a Patreon book. I will do that next week when there's less books. Because I cut Terrifics because I had 10 books and I still had 9. So
yeah. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Yes.
I'm glad Doomsday Clock got pushed 1 extra week.
Not
Recently, but the last time it got pushed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that one on this week would have been. I mean, I'd have loved it a little bit because Matt would have had to miss it, and there's a little bit of just sweet in that. But
yeah, and
next week's much nicer.
If you don't recall from last week, Matt's absence was known and planned. He's back next week. You'll get your bear quota next week.
Yes, he will be ranting about Doomsday Clock with the rest of us.
I was doing Doomsday Clock next week. I've forgotten.
I believe so. I mean, let me double check now that I've said that. I was under the impression it was next week.
Well, we'll find out at the end. We'll look at Diamond, but I mean,
I'm going to check now because you got me worried, and I need to know. There's a lot of D's. Doomsday Clock. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Did he not do a top 5? I'm just on. Matt sent me some. Thought he picked art. He picked moment and cover.
Did he do ratings?
He's got some ratings. Yeah.
We're gonna extrapolate off his ratings.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He read 1, 2, 3, 4. He's read 5 books now, presumably because he's got busy stuff to do today. So he got 5 in before today. Yeah. Because. And it's not like he's dropped all the other books, because, Action Comics isn't in this list. Oh, no, it is, actually. But, I mean, it's not like he's dropped Wonder Woman, which is not in this list. So
no, not yet.
Yeah. When Orlando comes, we'll renegotiate that. But so he got through 5 books before he had to send these in. And he has rated them fairly positively from a glance. He's got some
I'm shocked.
He's got a sentence or 2 for each one. I'll read those when we get to the relevant books. But so Matt sent in some thoughts, so we'll get to those later. Got a little bit of news before we get to the books. But yeah, we do have a little bit of a chitty chat before we get to anything usually now, though. So, Cara, how's your week been?
Not the worst, actually. I mean, we finished Mindhunter, so it's kind of felt like free time, because there's not been immediately another Netflix or Amazon show, which there has been for the past month.
Yeah, you've got at least another 6 days before that possible gauntlet starts up again.
Like, and don't get me wrong, it's not like we're doing nothing. We're still doing other stuff, but the other, without an extra binge show, it feels relatively relaxed. So I've been watching some Dragon Ball, and because I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, was when I was a kid. Very much enjoyed it. But I never watched Dragon Ball, so I thought, screw it, I'm going to start. And I've watched like 60 odd episodes over the past week or so.
This is actually DC Comics related in a way, but for the first time in a while, I watched an episode of TV this week. There was not a sitcom. That was just purely for the sake of watching it, because I wanted to watch it. I finally went back and watched the next episode of iZombie for where I left off in season 3. Luckily, Netflix remembered where I was, so I just, next episode.
I feel like I'd have to just start over and watch the whole thing at this point, now that it's finished.
No, I was happy enough to start where I left off, but there was a couple of little details. I couldn't remember who exactly was a zombie. Was a certain person cured? Like, there was a couple of details like that were just sort of coming, flooding back as we were going. It's funny because Blaine had a whole thing. It was like, can we trust him? Can we not? And the characters seemed not to trust him in this episode I watched, but he played it still as if it wasn't intentional. And I was like, I actually don't know. I don't remember if I had like a confirmed, is he evil right now, or is he a good guy, or what? So that's got me on the edge of my seat for now. But it was fun to dive back in.
I mean, I never went back and finished it either, but I like iZombie. It was fun.
Well, no, it's finished. I feel like it was.
Some point.
It's a show that I can just, if I need something on for 40 minutes, I'll just upload on the next episode.
It's why I'm doing Dragon Ball, because it's much easier to go, I'll watch 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes again, versus committing to 40 minutes straight off the bat.
Yeah, same as sitcom. That's sitcom rules.
Yeah. And then you somehow end up watching like 6 in one go, don't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 6 in 2 days last, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Whenever I said I did that, it was over one weekend. I just watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that was like 18 or 19 episodes that season was.
Yeah. Whereas if I rarely binge hour-long dramas anymore, because it feels like, right, okay, I'm sitting down for 40 to 60 minutes. I'm committing to that episode, and I'll get to the end of it and go, I'll leave it there, instead of putting the next one on. Whereas with a 20-minute show, I'll just put the next one on.
For the record, assuming I actually managed to fit at least some of them in on a regular basis, this will be the part of the show where I'll give some casual thoughts on the DC shows when they all start back up again, assuming I actually make the time for them. And this will be an interesting test, actually, because I do enjoy watching some of them, but it'll be very interesting to see if I manage to keep up with some of the ones that I don't necessarily always enjoy anymore, or rarely enjoy, might be a better description.
Which might be more than not at this point.
It may be. I mean, this is the thing. Arrow is in this weird place where because it's tying in more to Crisis, so I'm more tempted to want to watch it for that reason. And 2, because it's, and I said A and 2 there, I realised that. And 2, because it's final 10 episode season. Well, I may as well finish it now.
It's kind of, you're obligated to this point. It's like, well, there's only 10 episodes left. Might as well.
I've gotten this far. Flash is a tough sell at this point, but it feels more tied into things, whereas Black Lightning is a much better show, but it's so separate that it'd be easy to miss and just binge at some point later without caring about it.
Legends is safe when it comes back after Christmas.
Oh yeah, Legends I'll watch. Supergirl I tend to enjoy, so I'll probably watch that. And obviously I'm going to try Batwoman. We'll be reviewing the pilot properly.
Yeah, we'll be doing that.
But hopefully I like it enough to want to keep watching it. I don't know. We'll see. No, I did that. I've been trying to watch movies this month. I've been doing okay. I mean, I've been watching a lot for shows anyway. In fact, me and Tim last night sat down, because if you don't know, me and Tim, who, another fuzzer who's not on this podcast, we do a horror movie podcast called Streams After Midnight, and every October we do what we call the Octoberthon, where we try to do a lot of extra episodes, because typically we have one episode a week, occasionally a second one. There is a bonus episode once a month for patrons, blah, 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 blah. But in October, we tried to pump out a lot of extra episodes. And I think the first year we did 3 a week. And then it sort of went up to 4 a week the following year. Last year was around that again. Although that was impressive last year, though, because we were gimped. Because Tim was getting married.
Tim, the selfish bastard.
Yeah, Tim, so inconsiderate, decided to get married in the month of October. And he was gone for like 2 whole weeks in October because of his stupid wedding. And as a result, we had to do all the stuff in advance. So the fact that we still managed to have that many episodes last year was actually quite good.
It was quite impressive.
This year we're shooting for the moon though, because 31 episodes, not 31 movies. 27 movies, 4 of which are Patreon exclusive, so we're doing 4 exclusive episodes for Patreon. So 23 movies for the public, 4 exclusive to Patreon, and then the final 4 episodes to get up to 31 are 2 halves of our top 50 countdown, which this year are going to be our top 50 worst horror movies. Oh boy.
I can't wait to see how high you have the boy.
Oh, there's one list that Brahms will rank highly on, and let me tell you, it's going to be this one.
I will say is, yeah, I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
Yes, it's 31 episodes, but it should be 31 for the public, and then an extra 4 for everyone else.
Don't get me wrong. I wanted to shoot for that, but we've done the math on like how much time we have left, and it doesn't look feasible to do that. That's next year's goal. Next year's goal is 31 movies for the public, plus countdown episodes, plus Patreon exclusives. But we're hitting 31 episodes this year. There'll be something going up every day. And then the final 2, because there's 4 left, 2 is the countdown in 2 parts, and then the other 2 is the results of a public voted top 50 horror movies. That'll be all the community voting on their favourite horror movies.
And what tier do they have to be at to get those bonus episodes?
Oh, that's just the $1 tier, baby. That's a nice, easy, cheap entry level. You just pay $1 per month, and you get access to the bonus episodes. You get 1 per month, but for October, there's a special.
You get 4.
You get 4. You get a whole franchise, exclusive on Patreon.com.
Do they know which franchise yet? Have you said that?
I think they can guess it based on my letterbox and based on because I watched one on stream like last week, so they could guess. I'll say it's the Wishmaster franchise. You know.
Fair enough. I sense you have thoughts that make it maybe some interesting episodes.
Well, we've already recorded the first 3 of those, so and I just watched the 4th one last night for this weekend. So, yes, thoughts indeed. The one notable thing I'll say about the 4th one is that Anders from Battlestar Galactica is in it, which I was not expecting. But it was made in 2002, like right before, a couple of years before that show. I never realized that franchise was so recent. It's weird.
Yeah, I find that happens a lot in horror movies where you'll go back to them, 10 years later and play, I recognize like half of these people. Obviously that happens in a lot of movies, but I feel like especially horror movies into genre TV and film stars, it tends to be not a defined path, but just a pattern.
Well, it's the polar opposite of the first movie, because the first Wishmaster was like full of cameos from like horror people. Like Reggie Bannister from Phantasm was in a small role. Ted Raimi was in there in a small role. Robert Englund had a small role. There was just all these. Kane Hodder had a small role. There was all these horror people popping up in these one or two scene roles. So that one was very much like. Clearly, the late 90s, mid to late 90s was a bit of a rough time for all the stars of the 80s horror movies. So Wishmaster was apparently this hey, we'll give you all a little cameo and we'll call back to these things.
Hey, it's a paycheck.
So yeah, that was the thing. So yeah, in the meantime, we're just scheduling out how to record the rest of the episodes and actually. Because up until it's been kind of loosey-goosey which ones we've been doing up until this point in advance, whereas now we've like strictly scheduled because. Once it actually gets towards the middle of October, the order of which we've recorded them does matter a little bit because we need to make sure. Because sure, there's slots to record on the last weekend of October for the last week, but if I've already done those 3 movies, then the order I've got down for releasing them is completely wrong because we're not going to have those, previous episodes recorded. So it's a whole thing. So that puzzle was yesterday. As well as picking the Patreon votes and everything else that goes along with it. So October's our Christmas. So if you like horror movies, go try Screams After Midnight. What me and Tim do.
Yeah, Tim's pretty funny.
Dare you? Tim is pretty funny. I am extremely funny, and you can go and enjoy our ramblings. If I was to recommend some episodes, and obviously for some good movies, you want to have seen the movie first. Although we do always have a spoiler-free section at the start. But I will recommend. Obviously, we do a lot of bad movies where you don't need to see the movie. Just enjoy us telling you how bad it is, and having fun with it. But if I was to recommend a few episodes, I'd recommend The Pit. I'd recommend The Evil Within.
I've listened to that one. Oh boy, what a ride!
And I think you did Evil Within. Listen to that one.
Yeah. Because I remember you telling me about the movie in concept. I was like, I've got to hear it. I've got to hear about this.
And I think Leprechaun 2 has been heavily praised by our viewers, so our audio listeners. So go try that. I mean, obviously, you may want to listen to the Leprechaun 1 episode first if you want the continuity. If that's important to you.
And you're comics fans, so you probably do care about continuity to some extent.
You probably do, but there is no continuity between them. The only thing that connects those movies is that Warwick Davis plays Leprechaun in both. That is the only thing that has them connected. Completely different rules between the films and everything. Because, she'll sneeze once, she'll sneeze twice, and when she sneezes thrice, she'll be my bride. That's Leprechaun 2. Yeah, Clint Howard's in that movie though, so I mean that's something.
Oh, that's a real selling point.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, a busy week. Even though we've had a quieter week TV wise because Mindhunter was done.
Yeah. I mean, other shows coming up. Hopefully, some will be good. We tried a couple this week, but Pete's not a fantasy guy, so it was never really going to stick.
Yeah, we're never going to stick with Dark Crystal, and even you didn't like Carnival Row, so...
No. I did quite like Dark Crystal, though, so I'll probably watch more of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, we'll dive into the little bits of news that we've got. So, I actually don't have a page for this, but I believe it was in the... Unless we talked about this... If we talked about this last week, then apologies, but I don't think we did. Confirmed this week that G. Willow Wilson is leaving Wonder Woman... with issue, I think it's 82 is the last one, and Steve Orlando is going to be taking over full time after that issue.
Yeah, it hurts. She tweeted about it. She said it was because she'd been offered a dream bucket list.
Oh wait,
project.
I think we did talk about this.
Did we?
I feel like we speculated what the dream project was.
Maybe we did.
I think we did talk about this. I was convinced we didn't, but now you said Dream Project, I started thinking about what could it be. I was like, no, I seem to remember us talking about, because I remember saying that it's probably DC or Marvel, because I don't imagine an indie book.
You're right, we did talk about this.
Yeah, this is your fault, because I didn't have this, and Connor said, we should talk about this.
I went, was that this week, or was it last week? And you went, I think it was this week.
You put the doubt in me. Doubt in me.
I'm sorry, I wasn't certain myself, clearly.
Well, we have other Wonder Woman news. Nothing big, just an artist change. Issue 79. Jesus Jesus Merino's been taken off. But he's also already been taken off 78, and it was off 76 as well. So that's a few issues that he's been taken off, which maybe makes you think that DC have got him doing something. Maybe they hadn't planned already, or he's got some personal stuff that's maybe he has to take a couple months off. Wild
stab in the dark. Maybe he's on the bucket list project.
Well, no, because he's actually solicited for Orlando's issues. All
right, never mind then.
So,
for now.
So he's coming back. At least theoretically, he's coming back to Wonder Woman. I wonder if it's just he has to take a couple months off for personal reasons or something.
Could be busy, whatever. Schedule's got away. No, anything could have happened.
Yeah, been replaced by Scott Eaton and Wayne Focker. That's Faucher.
I'm familiar with Scott Eaton by name.
It could be Faucher, but I don't think it is. I feel like Focher is the correct one. And I'm really emphasising my pronunciation. It's that stupid movie with Ben Stiller. It's Meet the Parents. The sequel was Meet the Fockers.
Yes.
It's basically that. So that's the thing. And then the other bit of news, shocking no one, although they've finally done something actually sensible here, is that Shazam issues 9 onwards have been taken off the schedule and will be resolicited, so they don't have to push them back every time issue 8 gets pushed back. Yeah. So...
I mean, issue 8's still going to get delayed another handful of times, I'm sure.
Yeah. But this is sensible. It was weird that they kept soliciting it, so that they've taken off 3 issues that were solicited. 7 and 8 still need to come out. I wonder, though, if this means that we're finally getting to a point where 7 and 8 might be a bit more solidified. Because
7 not come out yet?
I don't think so. Oh, no, you're right. No, 7 did. 7 was June... Sorry. No. Seven's not come out yet. 6 was the last one that came out in June 6th. Seven's the one that keeps getting pushed back and knocking the rest back. So,
my God, this is worse than I thought.
So the fact that they've taken 9 onwards but not 8 makes me think that maybe they've actually finally got like, oh, we think these are actually going to roughly hit where we've got them.
Maybe, yeah.
But obviously 9 through 11, like it was a joke because it was like one per week because of how many times the others have been pushed back.
It was. You can look at like a lot of places will just update their article rather than publish a whole new one, and you can just see the update schedule like every week for the past 2 months.
Because it got to the point where it was going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all like back to back, week to week, and that was never going to happen.
No.
Although it would have been funny if it did. I'd have been laughing hysterically throughout that month. But so this makes sense. Yeah, there's no point in having them solicited and moving them back. Just resolicit them when the time's right.
I'm not surprised that they're cancelled, because technically that's what they are.
Technically, but they've said they'll be resolicited, and I believe them.
The only surprising thing is that they actually finally did it, because they should have made this call months ago.
Yeah, they should have done. But hey, is what it is. So I can't believe Matt didn't do his top 5. Madness. Anyway, I just because
I slacker.
I closed that tab and his email came up again, and I was like, well, that's weird again. So that was it. That was the news. But we got a lot of books, so we're not going to dilly-dally. We're going to dive in and get talking. So Batman Superman issue 1 is the first book, the main event of the week, I suppose. Joshua Williamson writing with David Marquez on the art. Batman Who Laughs is the villain. Joe, is so funny about that though is that there's a panel, or there's a narration box at one point, or whatever, where Batman says, "Oh hey, the Batman Who Laughs tried to affect my mind or whatever." And yada yada yada, and there's a little thing saying, "Oh, see, Batman Who Laughs, 1 to 7." And I said, you know what? That narration box saying that he tried to affect his mind and then ultimately failed is all I needed of that story. That is all I want from it. I don't need to read a single word of the book more than I did. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's enough of the explanation.
I never finished it, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything there.
Oh, I forgot you didn't finish it. Yeah.
No, I think I got to about issue 4.
What's funny, I think Matt finished it bizarre. He wasn't really into it by the end, but he'd got into issue 6.
It's a continuity one,
so he had to wrap it up. Yeah. So no. It's funny because obviously we've been having some issues with the Flash, and obviously we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But with Williamson, and I think what really I liked about this from the get-go is that right away it felt a bit more succinct to me. It flowed a bit better. It felt like both Batman and Superman's voice felt mostly in the right place, and I really felt like it was trying to be that original, Superman Batman book, the Loeb book with a dual narration.
To a fault with me, actually.
To a fault. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I think this book is fine. I don't think it's that interesting because 90% of it I feel like I've read before. It's just one of those Loeb issues, right?
That's fair.
With them talking about each other and praising each other, and it's that alternate narration. Like, I mean, it's fine. It's well written. It's nothing new.
I can't really argue with that too much. I enjoyed reading it though. Like I had fun. I can't really argue that it is kind of a repeat of that. It does open on a different Earth though. At least I assume it's a different Earth where Batman Who Laughs lures in Superman. In fact, he's not got the red trunks on, so it is definitely a different Earth.
Yeah, I was wondering, because he never actually, I got to the page after that, and it says Earth 0 now, and I went back and I was like,
so did I. I went back because I was like,
it never specifies then or in the future or what exactly it is.
And it was basically like, because part of me thought this is the future, but well, obviously they'll turn it to save them. But when it said Earth 0 and this, like when we got to the next bit, I thought, oh, that's a different Earth. Okay, they are really dead. This is Batman Who Laughs actually killing his heroes.
Well,
probably.
Given something in the plot later, maybe not.
Maybe. You got Batman and Superman talking to Gordon. He's talking about this kidnapping. Batman Who Laughs. Yada yada yada. And
well, that was it. It was the brother or whoever it was, little brother said, it was Superman that kidnapped him, but it was a Superman was laughing. So I'm wondering, this Superman from this opening.
Oh no, I think it is that Superman. Like he's like basically. Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean Superman was dead. I took it.
You meant all the rest of them.
I took it as the Justice League was dead, and this cracked Superman and made Superman like him. That's made a Superman who laughs.
I thought you were including Superman in the movie.
No. Basically, what I meant was that nothing we were seeing was fake. And that because
it wasn't just a cop out vision. Yeah. It was like, no, this did happen. Somewhere.
Yeah. My first read of that scene, I thought, this will be something to stop, or it'll be like a subversion or something. But no, it's a different Earth. So
yeah. The art in that is fantastic. The body horror of like Flash being strung up by Plastic Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the art quite a bit for the most part. I think all the stuff on the rooftop looks really good. I think Superman's physique occasionally looks a little bit
undefined.
Undefined, yeah, there you go. That's the word for it.
It's the big spread where he's coming in carrying Croc. His stomach, his torso, it's just a little bit long. There's nothing there. It's just very flat.
I love the signal. I love the city. I love the coloring. I'd be more than happy for this team to do a Bat book because I think it really lends itself to.
Yeah, Marquez is excellent. Obviously, this is quite major. It's his first DC work, right? He's been Marvel exclusive forever. So this is it's cool to see.
And he gets to do Batman and Superman. He's flexing his muscles. Yeah. So they go off to this location that under Crime Alley, where they think they might locate this kid or at least get to the Batman Who Laughs base, and they find like his demented cave that has like it's like the Bat Cave mixed with like a serial killer lair where there's like just blades and shit on the wall and like just blood everywhere and all the rest of it, and they see like a Justice League Who Laughs essentially on his computer. It's a whole thing. And then one of the evil Robins attacks him, and we think it's just one of the Robins, whatever. But the big twist is for the book, and I didn't see it coming that it was this Robin, but once he revealed who he was, I'm like, oh yeah, we knew this element was coming.
No, I agree, but I think it still lands well enough in that we didn't know it was. Oh, this Robin was him.
Yeah, because he says my name is Billy Bats, and then he says Shazam. Great big 2-page spread of the Lightning, and then
gorgeous again.
Yeah, final page is evil Shazam with Superman. He's got his throat. He's strangling him, and he's got this batarang that's laced with the Joker's or the Batman Who Laughs. Sorry,
it's the stuff that'll make him evil.
So no, really, and obviously we know we're getting this Secret Six, which is going to be 6 of heroes that have been turned evil, which I'm obviously going to revert by the end. But no, I dug this issue for the most part. The dual narration been done before, but still fun. I think the gist of taking these villains and turning them evil, I think I like in the context of this story. I like it way more than anything that was in the actual Batman Who Laughs miniseries.
Sure.
Just because he's kind of like enslaving people, and it's kind of it's an interesting story beat to play with that. And I think this issue flowed very well, which is something that I've been having a trouble with Snyder for a long time. So the comparisons there felt very kind of obvious to me, in the sense that
sure, because obviously this isn't a Snyder book, but it's playing with all of his stuff that he's been creating for the past year and a half, however long it's been. But
it's notable that I don't hate the Batman Who Laughs as a concept. I liked him when he was first introduced, and I think it's notable that I really enjoyed this issue and his inclusion in this issue when I was really just done with it in the Batman Who Laughs book itself. This is probably the best thing Williamson's written in a little while. It's probably since Flash War.
Maybe, yeah.
I say that having not been reading his indie stuff or anything like that, but in terms of his DC work, probably the best since that. I thought it was fun. Thought it flowed well. It wasn't like a shake the ground like debut. It's a hot new book that everyone's going to talk about. But
yeah, I think in that sense it's a little underwhelming, right? A big Batman Superman issue 1. It's fine. It's not the big thing that you were probably hoping, or a lot of people were hoping it would be.
It reminds me of the New 52 one, because the New 52 one also just kind of came out and it had nice art, but it was like, oh, this is just it's fine.
Who was on art for that?
Jay Lee was on the first
few
issues.
Wasn't it? that did look gorgeous.
Yeah. Whereas I think the story in this one's better, and the art is pretty good, but it's not as completely stylized as that JLE stuff was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had decent fun with it. It's just not. Yeah, I think it's a solid, good book, and I think the plot could really get interesting coming up. Obviously, we've seen Williamson fall into some trappings of himself, and we'll talk about that in a few issues' time. But
yeah, like I think this issue it's all right. I like it well enough. I'll stick with it for now and see if the story gets more interesting as it goes. But should this end up being on a very busy week in a couple of months' time, if it hasn't improved, I don't know. This might be one of the ones that I'd consider dropping.
Let's see what Matt said, because Matt read this one. Batman Superman. Do you know what? I actually think he has ranked these because they're in a kind of a weird order. I think what's weird because they're numbered, but they're all numbered as one. I think his numbering format has just really done something weird. And
okay, so we think this is his top 5.
I think they're ranked.
You can just jump around them.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to tell you the order till the end. We'll do that when we get there. But so maybe he did read more on this. Maybe he's just giving me thoughts on his top 5. I don't know. So I guess everything he's got thoughts for are going to be in his top 5. I guess that's a bit of a spoiler, but you don't know the order. So anyway, he says, dual narration boxes are perfect. Still not feeling the Batman who'll laugh stuff. Wilson can get exceptionally dark when he wants to. Finally got to see Billy, but not exactly how I wanted to. Art is phenomenal. I want to Seeker DC characters from Marquez.
See more, probably.
See more, yeah. That's probably a typo. So he
does have fat thumbs.
So he said like he enjoyed it. He rated it 8 out of 10, which leads to your rating.
I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think it's decent. Art's dragging it up a bit for me. It's fine.
No, I'm going to agree.
Too safe.
I'll agree with Matt and say a solid 8. I think it's not amazing, but I enjoyed it. I liked the voices for the character. It flowed really well. And the art was mostly pretty great.
Like, to me, an 8 has to be like, oh, this is a great book, and 7 is good. So
Well, I did think this was great though. It just wasn't amazing. It wasn't,
Yeah, I think great is way too far for me on this. With how I feel.
All right, so that'll take me on to Action Comics 1014. Brian Michael Bendis writing with Szymon Kudranski on the art. So, despite the fact that my usual format would dictate that Superman and Action should go side by side, because we don't usually have them in the same week, I intentionally split them up for the sake of not having 2 in a row with just me. So Action Comics I'm going to do first, which I typically do like the more out of the 2. That's not why I put it first. I just put it first because this is usually Action's week. Superman's the weird tacked on one because it got delayed. So the big plot of this one is that Miss Leon, who owns the Daily Planet, the villain who's the head of the, who never speaks about Superman, so she'll never be caught, actually comes to the Daily Planet, and Perry gets to meet her for the first time. And I actually really like the art here because Perry's just coming from the outside and it's raining, and he's got a bonnet on, and there's water dripping down it. It's very, very atmospheric. So she's like, hey, I'm here to see you for the first time, and he's very kind of like, okay, it's weird, I've not seen you before, but blah, 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 blah. And she's basically like, hey, I don't want to do any more gossip stuff, I want this paper to be like cutting edge of journalism, and what's that going to take to make that happen? Like, how much money do you need? I want Lois Lane back in her desk, I want her publishing things as often as possible, I want this to be the cutting edge of journalism, and it's a very interesting thing coming from her, and assuming this is not just purely for profit, like what exactly is her agenda here for wanting Daily Planet to be this bastion of journalism? Very curious. But so Perry kind of falls in love essentially because she's basically offering a blank check to like pay the reporters more and get more staff and all the rest of it. Actually, when she says she wants Lois back at her desk, the close-ups in this page are just of her eyes and then Perry's mouth, and Perry just has this smirk on his face when she says that. It's like he's bonding with her on like a really personal level. Meanwhile, Superman's fighting a giant monster that's came through like a rift at Star Labs, and he uncovers that the Star Labs people are doing illegal experiments, But the main thing here that he discovers, and he turns them in for that because he uses his X-ray vision to discover that. But the main thing here is that all of the teleportation from Leviathan is actually creating some temporal problems, and that's where this monster came from. So it's kind of a small beat in that plot. That's kind of neat. The book does have like a news article by Kent, like explaining this, like what Star Labs were doing. It's in the middle of the book. I'm not a big fan typically of having like like a block of text like this, in the middle of a comic. It kind of derails the pacing. It's not super dense though, for because there's been some of these in the past where I'll be reading a comic and you'll get like a 2-column like thick block of text in a page.
There's one of the Wicked and Divine between arcs over the last few arcs they did one shots based on previous cycles of the gods, and one of them I think it was the 1920s one. Half of it was prose and half of it was comics, and I didn't know that going in. And it starts, you got a couple of pages of comics, and then you got like 3 pages of prose, and it kind of went through it, and it was a surreal experience for a comic to be that extensively written.
Yeah, it usually kills the pacing. This one's not too bad, admittedly, but it does usually kill the pacing for me. But yeah, so that's a very Daily Planet focused issue because we're back in the planet. Clark's just finished up his story. Perry's like congratulating him on a good bit of work. He's like, no, you have to come and meet someone. And so Clark meets Leon, which is a very interesting concept because obviously she's been trying to hide from Superman, and now she's like in a room with him, not knowing it, but like she's in a room with Superman, and she asks like what he's what he thinks his time is worth as a reporter, and she's basically saying, do you want a raise so you can do better work? But he's very kind of apprehensive of her. There's a little joke here where he's like, "Where did you come from, Mr. Leon?" And Perry's like, "I think heaven," because Perry's just like, for the first time in his career, he's not been told to like make cutbacks and whatnot. He's like, "Oh no, she's just going to like open the floodgates." Thorn goes to the criminal bar where the secret mafia are and actually ends up like stabbing one of them repeatedly. Doesn't kill him because Red Mist shows up. Or sorry, not Red Mist, Red Cloud. Forgive me. Do you know what? There's a lot of names to keep track of in comic books, and I feel like they're, especially in a week where I've had 9 books. Like,
honestly, I find it. There are people at work whose names I still don't know. I've after months, I'm like, no, too many names of comics characters filling up all that space.
Oh dear. Yeah. So Red Cloud kind of realizes who she is and is like, yeah. So it becomes this big fight, and and I don't think we're done with Rose and Thorn. I'm sure she's still alive, but she's being clouded essentially. Like, the red mist is in her mouth and stuff. But the final line of this page is one of the guys being like, "There goes the invisible part of the invisible mafia, shit," kind of thing. So not a big scene in of itself, this issue, but I think it's going to be a big deal like going forward, because it means that maybe this will reach some authorities. This will reach the newspapers, and all of a sudden it's not so secret anymore. Clark goes to see Lois, explains that this new boss wants her back and she's going to pay for it handsomely, and she's like, "But you really like sort of demanded to know where she came from. You got that accusatory." Just almost surprised at him a little bit. But no, so I one of the things I love about Action recently is because it's been so focused on the Daily Planet stuff. It doesn't have the tone of Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, but it has kind of that focus that show had that I really like, where it really kind of frames it mostly around the Daily Planet stuff, and I think it's great. The book ends. Lois basically sees that there's some being with light around them, like flying through the sky of Metropolis. So Superman, of course, flies off to see who it is, because it's not John or anyone else they're expecting. And whoever this is, like, hits the top of the Daily Planet building. He goes over, and the final page is Naomi. Naomi has entered Action Comics, and she's like, "Superman, I'm Naomi, I need your help." And that's where we wrap up the story for this one. And it says, next time Superman and Batman team up to help Naomi. So Bendis is having fun tying all of these different things together, which is cool. The art in this is typically very good. There's One or two little quibbles here or there. Like for when Superman lands in the but in Lois's hotel, Lois's face looks a little bit I don't know, just puffier than usual, I guess is how I'd describe it. Which I mean, it doesn't look unnatural. It wouldn't be a problem if this is just not how Lois normally didn't look, if that makes sense. It's just different from what she normally looks like. But otherwise, really good stuff. Like I said, I love the atmosphere early on in the book with the sort of rainy night. The idea that this villain, and no one knows she's a villain yet, even if Clark has his his doubts. It sets the mood in the atmosphere of this meeting finally happening, and makes it feel like a big deal, which is the main plot point of the issue is that stuff. And I've been digging the introduction of that character, and her getting more involved in the plot is really cool. So. And I'm excited for Naomi. So, this was a really solid issue action. I will give this. I will give it. I'll give it a 9. I really liked it. The action's great. Make it nice and easy. Which will take us on to Wonder Woman issue 77, which is written by G. Willow. Tear in my eye now when I say that.
Yeah, every time I read this issue, Wonder Woman, there's not many left.
Yeah, well, I think we're on the last arc. This is the start of an arc, and I'm pretty sure this will be it. This will be the last one. Jesus Merino is on the art. Although, for the last time for a few issues, as we talked about.
Yep.
So, yeah, Wonder Woman, this issue, and obviously we're dealing with the fallout of Cheetah murdering Aphrodite, and the reactions to this. Steve and Antilade is coming back in and seeing her lying there. I kind of like how it's treated like a crime scene almost a little bit. How we have all this shock horror of the body.
I like Steve trying to stop them. Coming in and seeing their mother lying there in a pool of blood.
Yeah, I also like the idea that he's maybe also thinking about like it's a crime scene. We can't disturb it too much. We want to investigate it.
There was a certain turn of phrase he used. It might have been when Diana showed up actually. Where was it? It's when he's scatting the house and he's like, okay, we just found her, and then we had a prowler.
Yeah. And she leaps to Cheetah because of the footprints, and wants to go all gun ho, wants to and they take Aphrodite back to Themyscira for a funeral, and that happens. But ultimately, Antilades is like, I want justice. And Wonder Woman's like, you shall have it. And she's kind of like angry and she's ready to go and she gets suited up. Steve tries to talk her out of it.
You even have like the suit up montage, right?
Yeah, you get the close up of the boot being laced up and the lasso going on the hip and everything else. And he's like, no, you have to keep your head. This is justice is not revenge or anger. And Wonder Woman, a lot of her narration over the next couple of pages as she's flying to meet Cheetah is this idea that no, if you try to remain completely objective, then it's not really anything. Whereas, justice can be fueled by rage. It doesn't just make it revenge because you're angry. It's this interesting thing, and it's this,
I will say, Steve felt a little bit petty here. He's like, oh, will there ever be a point where I come first, or we come first? And she's like, there was a goddess just murdered in our house.
Yeah. It's not.
The killer's not that far. I'm kind of with her on this one.
Yeah, it's not time for their relationship to come first.
If this was just rushing off to stop something small, and you had something planned for the evening, I mean that's one thing. I think it's kind of part and parcel with, okay, you're going out with a superhero, right? But this felt particularly petty when someone has just killed an actual goddess in your house. Hey, what about me? What?
But Wonder Woman does find Cheetah, who's got her sword. Or I'm going to call it a saber because it looks a lot like the White Ranger tiger saber. Actually, the shape of it's very similar.
You're not wrong.
Which is not as good as the green dagger. Don't get me wrong. The dragon dagger is the superior of the two.
It is, yeah.
But I'll call it like I say it. And she is all licking the blood off the blade, being all proper, like murdery and whatnot.
I wonder if drinking goddess blood gives you any extra powers.
I don't know.
No, just spitballing.
Yeah. Steve's trying to comfort Antilades back at the house. But basically it says this idea that because Aphrodite is dead and because Antilades doesn't feel love anymore, that'll actually have an effect on how people feel all over the world, because love is technically missing right now.
Yeah, because Aphrodite was, the goddess of love as well, right? So it's like, it's literally died, and it's not just that she was like a figurehead for it. She was a literal manifestation.
And here's a question here. So do you think that's why Wonder Woman is so sort of blinded by anger right now? Because the opposite side is diminished because of
definitely.
this?
I think where the next couple of pages we see in the fight, she struggles. She's kind of losing all the will to fight, and it's just kind of going through the motions, because typically she is a very positive character, and she is fueled by the love of her friends and family.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes complete sense.
That's all thing. So the fight's raging on, and we sort of end in a cliffhanger where Cheetah's like lunging at her with the sword, and that's kind of there. Then we go to the far end of Themyscira, and it's Grail and her groupies traveling through, and we get this cliffhanger where they run into a bunch of characters. Do you know who these characters are?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No, nor do I. I thought the one in the middle felt familiar to me, but I don't know if it's just because she's slinking around like other characters sometimes.
The way they were talking, I was inclined to think maybe they're the Fates.
Yeah.
The three of them, three sisters.
There's four though.
No, well, that's the thing. There's the fourth one's a weird, look like extra one. Almost.
Yeah, it looks different. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I was wondering if that one maybe doesn't count. It looks more animalistic, right? Don't get me wrong, still has a face.
I'm not gonna lie, the one at the top made me think of a Hellraiser. I was getting Cenobite vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
The one at the top. We will devour your soul.
I like the designs on all. It's not.
I'm so sorry. I got the quote wrong there. It's "We will tear your soul apart" is the line from Hellraiser. I do apologize. That was important. I had to correct that. That was not
all those people at the start of this episode was like, "Hey, he does a horror podcast. He must really know his stuff." Now I go, what's the point? Yeah. No, I really like the designs, and there are things where, like, the hands look misproportioned and stuff like that, which obviously usually would be a bad thing, but in this case gives it this really sinister, otherworldly look.
Yeah, the different proportions because they're like you say, sort of demonic and out of this world. Yeah, so the art is good. I wouldn't say great.
It's Merino in a nutshell.
Yeah, like it's like the fight with Cheetah, for example, and like the first full page spread when you see Cheetah. Those are moments where I can picture what the feel that might have by Germanico or by even Nord.
Especially Cheetah herself, I think looks a bit off.
I wouldn't even say. I would just say a bit simple. Versus how like the sense of like presence and style that I see other artists.
Some of the poses look a bit off to me.
Okay.
I mean, they're not terrible. Never enough to be really distracting, but definitely not up to the heights that we have seen on this book by some other artists recently.
No, it was just it's solid enough. But definitely, I think we've been spoiled on this book by some of the other artists who, when Germanico was doing some of the giant stuff, or Nord was doing that first arc, and you had all those big fights with Ares and stuff like that.
Yeah,
all that stuff looked phenomenal. And then this fight is it's fine. It looks like a comic book fight.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's just not amazing. Enjoying this arc as a setup, though. I like where we're going. I want to see what Atlantiade's plan is. Maybe they're going to be like, okay, no, I think we talked about this last year. We're going to have to step up and kind of fill the mother's role.
Yeah.
Reintroduce love.
Hopefully with Huey, you'll listen to the news as a backing track. The power of love is a beautiful thing. Makes one man weep.
That would ruin all the big Greek mythology stuff.
Makes another man sing. What are you giving it?
I'll give it a 8, I think. Yeah, we'll go with an 8.
Yeah, yeah, I'll say. I will say. I think the scene at the end with Graylin that felt kind of almost randomly tacked on.
A bit tacked on, yeah.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by who these characters at the end are though. I'll make all this up with Cheetah. The idea that Cheetah actually killed a goddess and the fallout of that. I'm liking the feel of that. And what they're doing with that. So, yeah, I barely gets the 8. I think it's like borderline, but
I think I like all the rest of it enough that it gets an 8.
Yeah.
If better art, maybe this would be an 8.5.
Yeah, I agree. That'll take me on to Superman 14. Brian Michael Bendis writing with Ivan Reis on the art. Oh, and I think there was a second artist in this one as well, but Comixology never had it.
I take it Matt didn't say anything about Wonder Woman.
Well, there wasn't actually. Oh, no, you might have done actually. Good point. I have to check. No, he didn't, because I said that at the start. He didn't do Wonder Woman.
Okay.
He has done Superman. I'm noting that now so that I can do that at the end.
Did he do action?
Oh, he did do action. Oh, God. Of course he read all the Superman books. So
right. Pretend this is 20 minutes ago.
Pretend it wasn't 20 minutes ago. It was like
it felt like it to me.
10 at the most. Action, he gave an 8.5. He said Perry and Leon was great. Lots of close-ups, gave it a claustrophobic vibe. Love seeing Clark as a reporter in his own right. I hope it's not the last we see of Rose and Thorne. Yeah, so he seems to like it a lot of the same things we do, and he's concerned that Rose and Thorne are actually dead. So
you mean same things you do?
Oh, I do. Okay, sure. So admittedly, a very horrible place to put his thoughts on action. People might have, not wanting to listen to Wonder Woman, they've skipped over it in the next one, but
just when you're timestamping this, make that the start of Superman.
Sure, perfect. There you go. Good idea. Yeah, Superman 14. So it starts off with a scene. It says today, and it's on Thanagar, and it's Superman, Supergirl, Superboy, Krypto with Zod and Zod's wife and son, and they're marching to this, the council of like everyone, like all the alien races, and they're like, "Hey, there's all this conflict because of Rogozar ends now. We're going to do something about this." You can see like Guardians, Dominators, all sorts of obviously Thanagarians and tons of things. But we go back to yesterday, which is where we kind of left off the story, and it's Superman and Jor-El are at the destructions of Krypton. Rogozar shows up in a ship with Zod, and I did think it's a bit weird here how Zod just, as soon as they get to Krypton, decides, you know what, I'm going to stop pretending to be on his side and just attack him. That felt a bit weird to just do it at the start of an issue like this. However, it is interesting seeing like Clark's, I have to go and stop him, and Jor-El's like, no, he's going to do what you can. He's going to like actually kill Rogozar, and he wants to go out anyway. Jor-El gives him a respirator essentially, or like a shielding thing for the kryptonite that's in the the vicinity. It won't last for too long, but it's enough for a trip kind of thing. But they get really fighting. Zod's just like blasting his heat vision into Rogozar, and the fight really gets going. Superman, the reason why he goes out is to try and rescue Zod, because Zod is fighting out in this kryptonite. And the big moment here, reveal wise, is that Zar is also hurt by kryptonite. Rogozar in some way is Kryptonian, and that's very interesting. So that's a great moment. That's a great big reveal. And Rogozar starts fighting them. He gets his axe. He's going to swing it at them, and the axe goes out of his hand. And you get a nice big reveal of Supergirl, who's the one who's grabbed them. So her, John, and Krypto have just shown up. Who obviously, if you've read Supergirl last issue, they kind of splintered off and did their own thing for an issue, and now they're back. And there's a nice moment here where Jor-El looks kind of shocked, and he's like, the House of El. It's the first time he's seen the family kind of together. Ever really, since Krypton. So it's a nice little beat. So we have Superman and Zod fighting side by side, taking on Rogozar. which is something we kind of thought might happen for a long time. But this is when all the Thanagarian ships show up and basically say, we have to bring you with us. So this gets us back up to where we started. It's the L's and the Zods coming into Thanagar. They don't actually want to arrest Superman because obviously Superman's Superman and he's like saved the universe like countless times. They know his deal. But it's actually John says, this is kind of silly, the way that all this stuff happens. And, Krypton being destroyed was because there was a secret group that worked, behind the shadows. And it was all this espionage stuff, and it was people not telling each other things. And he inspires an idea. He's like, what about like something like the United Nations, like Earth, where you're supposed to like, help each other out? Why don't we have something like that for the planets? So Superman essentially pitches this to all these alien like diplomats and leaders. No, we're going to end this now. We're going to start something new that actually keeps everything in the public eye and is like a proper avenue for this. And so he's made his pitch. It doesn't sound like they're enthusiastic because there's no answer. And John says, how do we get them to believe us? And then you turn the page, and out of a portal in the sky, the Legion of Superheroes emerges. And they're like, hey, we're the Legion of Superheroes. We're from the blah, blah, blah century, and 31st, that was it. Is it usually the 31st, or is it usually the 32nd?
Pretty sure it's always the 31st.
Okay, well, they're going to do a 30-second thing soon, because I remember reading that there's like
yeah, I think that's actually been changed. I think that's been dropped. I think that I remember reading about that in the last couple of weeks, that it was announced as 32nd, and that was, it's weird, they're doing 32nd.
Yeah, okay.
And got to this, it's like, well, actually.
I mean, that's easy enough to change. You just have to change the lettering a couple of times, basically.
Yeah.
So, no, you got some of the key usual suspects. And it's like, hey, this is the day that started everything. This is the day that led to kind of our peaceful future, because of what you did in this day. So it's really kind of setting up, the new kind of like seed for what the Legion are. And they're like, hey, we want to like invite you to come with us, and offer you a place. And Superman's like, well, that's an honor, but like I do have a lot of responsibilities. He's like, oh, sorry, Superman. No offense, but we weren't talking to you. We were talking to John. So the end of the book is John like, huh? Because
that's pretty much because they just, I think it was today or yesterday, released the cover for Superman 15.
Yeah.
And it's basically that.
Yeah, because it's but Supergirl, Superman, and then the Millennium issue 1 and 2 are leading into the actual Legion ongoing, which is launching. So this is kind of the first real thing that's leading into it. So no, it's the conclusion of the story. It doesn't really feel like the end of Zar yet, though, because we just learned that he's in some way Kryptonian, so we're definitely going to come back to him at some point in some way. Although maybe more of a Hannibal Lecter type thing, or maybe he'll break out or whatever. But there's definitely some more to do with him, but we've sort of wrapped that up for now, and we're setting up this Legion stuff for a couple of issues, and then we'll see, where Superman goes after that. But I do like that Superman and action are so different. And, one feels more like just the supers, and you get John and Supergirl in there from time to time, and we're doing cosmic stuff. Action is the Daily Planet stuff, and a bit more grounded in, espionage, I guess. So, no, dig it.
What did Matt say?
What did Matt say for Superman? Good question. Legion is long-lived. Is the first thing it says. Zod face turn was exceptionally well handled. I feel the unity. I don't know if he means the moment where he actually attacks Zod, or he attacks Zar, because that kind of felt weird that it got thrown out there like that. It didn't feel like it was inspired by that much. Outside of just being like, you brought us to Krypton? Okay, you know what? Screw it, I'm going to hit you. But him working with Superman, I liked a lot. Like that felt like, because he actually says to like El, what's the plan? Like there is a moment of like, oh. Like they're actually working together. It's not just us punching the same guy. He's actually asking for his like plan or his advice. Still wonder about the delay and if it really changed anything in the issue. My guess, if I was to guess, this is that some of the Legion outfits got changed, and that's what they changed.
Possibly. I've seen some speculation that they were going to, because obviously there was the whole thing about whether or not it was Lightning Lad's race, right? And then it came out, and it was kind of what we were expecting in this issue anyway. there was some speculation that they were going to change it. That's why they pulled the issues, because they didn't want them out in the wild and then change it because it would look bad. And then it kind of leaked anyway, and they went, well, shit, now we can't do it. We're just going to have to stick with what we've got. So basically just reprinted them identically is what is what some people have been saying.
They did change the cover though, right? Because that was their excuse. That was their excuse.
Yes, they did change the cover. All the rest of the pages.
I don't believe for a second that's the real reason, but that was what they said publicly.
Yes, the cover makes no sense given that on the same week other books came out with covers still with the Year of the Villain branding that didn't have a Year of the Villain scene in it.
Yes. I mean, they kind of loosely have the villain use whatever Lex gave them, so that's kind of why it has the branding of the gift.
Oh no, it didn't in the issue in some of the issues in that week.
In that week, okay.
Yeah. The original week Superman was supposed to come out.
I don't remember what happened that week.
It was, I think it was Catwoman. People were using as an example because there was nothing in it in that issue.
Yeah, thoughts on that later. Actually, I've got thoughts on Catwoman later.
Do you have thoughts on Catwoman?
Not the book, the character.
Right. Okay.
The character. Anyway, so Matt gave that an 8. I am going to concur with that and give it an 8 also. Not quite as good as Action, but really, really solid, and excited to see what they do with the Legion.
What score did Matt give Action? Did you say the score?
8.5 he gave Action. I did. I'm sure I did.
Okay.
But yeah,
right, fair enough.
Which is annoying actually, because that's 3 for 3 that me and Matt have given the exact same score.
Did you not give Action a 9?
Oh, you're right. I did give Action a 9. You're right. Okay, never mind. I'll take it back.
See, I pay attention sometimes.
Look, my memory's not what it used to be, alright? That's just what it is. Anyway, what does that take us on to? That takes us on to Z Flash, issue 77. Jorge Williamson writing with Rafa Sandoval on art. So this is continuing off the cliffhanger where the Black Flash was coming for the Still Force dude, Steadfast. This issue continues that. It does have one scene at the start with the Rogues where Captain Cole with his new suit, with Heatwave with his new stuff, they go and get Weather Wizard, and he gets some new stuff. I will say I don't like how this Weather Wizard looks. I don't know, this whole thing. I'm no longer the Weather Wizard. I'm her assassin. Ugh. Yeah, sure. Because I
do Weather Wizard. We haven't had Weather Wizard in bloody years.
I do like Cole's new suit for the purpose of this story, and his beard. I like the general look that he's got. It's different. Yeah. It's not. I don't want it to be his main look forever, but
I'm digging the beard.
As an alternate for this story or two, I'm into it.
Do you know what the thing is though? He still mostly sounds like Cold.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Weather Wizard here sounds a bit more raving lunatic than usual.
Yeah, no, he does. So. Yeah, Barry and the other speedsters have to save Steadfast, and they go through the museum and crisscross and kind of trick him. And I will say it's weird that Black Flash can be tricked with a mannequin wrapped in a cloak, when I assumed that him tracking the speedsters had nothing to do with visuals and was more to do with sensing the force.
To be fair, Steadfast says he imbues the cloak with the Still Force power.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I missed that detail.
Yeah, I mean, I won't find it now that I'm looking for it, but he definitely said something to that effect.
That's fair. That's fair. So this is.
There you go. Imbuing my cloak with the Still Force aura worked.
So this issue is Barry then going to the other forces we've met. So Furza, the Strength forces are who's fighting King Shark.
Yeah.
I mostly enjoyed her scene here for the most part. It was the other two after this, the more villainous one who's got the Sage Force and or just him. Yeah, there was just one more. Yeah.
If so many editor's notes.
Yeah, a lot of editor's notes. I think the upside to this is that it does feel like they're wrapping up all this Force stuff, because it feels like they're bringing it all together finally, so they can.
I'm looking forward to it being over.
Yeah.
I'm with Black Flash on this one. New forces must die.
Yeah, no.
Which I definitely read in the
New forces must die.
This one even had the dots after each word for the pauses, and it just I felt like he was watching that season as he was writing this.
He might. No, I don't know. I don't know if it would have been long ago enough that he was still watching the
He
season.
could have been binging it over the summer.
It could have been, yeah. It could have been. Yeah. And then Avery and Kid Flash are like helping the city and like going off to fight. Was it Fallout?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the art goes, it's Sandoval again. I do think some stuff works. Like I think a shark looks pretty solid. I think the Furza shark stuff generally looks pretty cool. Especially when the shark bites her arm. That looks pretty nice.
Rule of thumb is anything that doesn't have Barry in it looks all right.
The overall, because Barry's hit and miss, the overall is just kind of decent, but like, yeah,
pretty much.
That's what it is.
And obviously we don't like the design for Weather Wizard, but I don't know if he did he might not have done the design, so it could have been someone else.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, so basically the issue ends with the villainous woman, the Sage Force, immediately using his powers. After reading Barry's mind to figure out what's going on, he immediately uses his powers to mind control the Steadfast dude so that he'll fight Furza. So he immediately double crosses them, which is basically what happened last time Barry
I'm shocked
interacted with him. So yeah, but it does set up that Barry doesn't really have a clue as to how to beat this or how to save them all from Black Flash. He's just kind of hoping he'll figure something out, which is what it is. The issue's okay. I didn't like it as much as last issue. I got the last issue because it was Barry trying to make amends, and he was interested in the museum, and the cliffhanger with Black Flash was pretty fun for the most part. I liked the last issue a bit more, even though it wasn't perfect. This issue was a bit more in the just kind of decent range,
Yeah, I'm just when it's doing the roll call of all the characters we introduced during the past 20 odd issues. I'm just like, right, okay, I guess we had to reintroduce that, and of course we have to use them because we're doing the Force War, I'm going to call it. But yeah, I'm ready for these to be done. I'm fatigued of this whole.
I think the sad part is that if I liked all these characters, this would actually be a really cool moment where they all come together finally.
It would probably feel exciting, but as it is, I'm just like, well, that's half the issue, just collecting them and just doing that.
Still better than year one.
Yeah,
I'm saying it quite happily.
Yeah, I don't think I'd argue with that.
So, what are you giving Flash?
I'll give it like a 6.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. 6 sounds about right for me as well.
Now, given that you said we think that it's only Matt's top 5 he's sent in things for, I'm going to assume he didn't send anything for Flash.
Nah, he's not read Flash, or at least he's not said anything for Flash. That's it. This may actually just be everything he's read anyway, and maybe he just specifically read the 5 he thought he'd like the most because they were the most important to him.
Could be, yeah.
In time for the show, so that would make sense. So many questions to ask Matt next week. Before we move on though, I will tell you about patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can go there and support us for as little as $1 per month and keep all the content coming, keep the podcast coming. Of course, directly related in terms of bonuses, there's bonuses for a lot of the shows we do on there, but for comics, me and Connor do a single issue discussion thing. Right now we're working through Gotham Central, one issue. Every week or so one of those goes out. But we keep that coming, and you get that for $1 per month. But you can support us for much more though, and get your name at the end of the video or whatever else. Go and have a look. See,
make us read terrible books.
You can make people read terrible books. Me and Connor specifically. So go have a look. But that's patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. That'll take us on to Justice League issue 30. Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV writing, with Jorge Jimenez on the art. So we got the Return of the Legion this week. And Superman.
Yep.
We also end this book with the Return of the Justice Society.
Yep.
And I don't know how this will fit with Doomsday Clock, if at all.
I'm telling you now, Doomsday Clock is no longer continuity.
It's semi-continuity.
No. That's fine. It's no longer the official DC. It's not what it was planned to be, and I don't know if that's a case of it was delayed so much and they were like, we can't hold back that long, and they just went ahead, or if some of the delays are editorial changing their minds and went, "Do you know what, we're doing it in Justice League now. Sorry, Doomsday Clock, change your plans."
Doomsday Clock's the best thing DC's put out in the last 3 years, and I'm going to maintain that.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing the level of quality. It's a phenomenal book. I'm just saying I think it is no longer the continuity landmark that it once was supposed to be. Because too many things don't. Alfred's still alive in that book. I mean, you know, maybe things in Batman will change, but still.
There may be some weird reason at the end of Doomsday Clock for everything, or I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out next year.
It won't be next year, don't say that. Also, hit your mic, it's doing that thing with the cables. So this book opens with... It annoys me, you know what? Because this is nowhere near as good as Doomsday Clock. But anyway...
I like this book a lot, and I will agree with that.
Yeah, it opens with the Justice League fighting Apex Lex, and Lex essentially wins and beats them all, and Perpetua's risen, is like, Doom is coming. It turns out, no, this is Starman explaining all this, showing something that he saw in the heart of the hyper time.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, who are they talking to? Because the Justice League are all behind them. And it's like, no, we need more recruits. And then you see the big page of all the you know, the B-listers and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's a great page.
That's a pretty solid page. Here's a question though. So Green Arrow and Black Canary are standing next to each other, and not just in the full page with the big group shot, but also on the next page there's like, you know, a panel with just those two. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Green Arrow end with them like breaking up in a very kind of bad way?
I think you might be wrong.
Am I?
Maybe? I don't know. It's been too long.
There's definitely a breakup element. I mean, maybe they kissed and made up at the very end, but
There was. I'm wondering if it was more of a. I remember it maybe being like a ruse they were going along with something. I don't know.
Someone remind us what happened in Green Arrow issue 50, because clearly it's causing some so the issue is victim to some Snyderisms that really wind me up. It is overwritten at points. We have lots and lots of exposition, and the annoying part is that a lot of it is kind of redoing explanations we've had before.
To an extent.
Don't get me wrong, it's packaging it in a way that's maybe more... It's almost like they're expecting people to just pick up this arc because they've been, you know, hyping it up.
To be fair, they have been saying this is a jumping on point to people.
Yes.
So...
Yes, good luck with the explanation of all these various energies and shite, if you've not read any of this before.
I assume one of the panels I think you probably hated was the bottom half of the next page after you see all the B-listers. And it's, yes, you know, it goes through all the different, you know, forces, spectrums, whatever else there. And it's, you know, I love that panel with the silhouettes of the heroes and, you know, the way it's shaped and the symbols. Ah, yes.
No. So, basically, Starman's got a plan. He's detected parts of the totality in the future and the past. So he's going to send some of the core Justice League to the future, some of the core Justice League to the past, and all the B-listers are there to defend the Hall of Justice. And Mira and Hawkgirl are going to go with the World Forger to try and find the Anti-Monitor. So everyone's getting their positions kind of roped up. And Perpetua is awake. She is talking to Apex Lex. There's a very similar page to earlier on where we see all the villains that he's amassed, much like all the B-listers earlier. And I'm just saying B-listers to basically just distinguish between the main Justice League and everyone else.
Basically, only the Justice League in this scenario is an A-lister. Everyone else is below.
But in reality, you know, I mean, like Shazam, for example, I mean, he's borderline. You could kind of...
Borderline. Green Arrow is probably on the
I would say Shazam and Green Arrow are, and even Supergirl and Batgirl are more A-list than, like, Hawkgirl. And I don't mean to upset any Hawkgirl fans, I just mean in terms of, like, you know... Perception and hierarchy and popularity and so on. So here's a question. These villains look a little bit funny, some of them, and I'm assuming this is because they've got like tech and stuff from Lex, from the gifts and all that jazz. Because you see like the Aqua or the Manta Mech or whatever it was called in the background.
Yeah.
Harley looks ridiculous. So there's a
Well,
cat.
to be fair, that's Mecha Harley. I'm assuming that's what she's called, given that she's half robotic from the chest down.
Her shoulders annoy me. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, but if you go from stomach downwards, it's all mecha stuff.
Sure, but there's a Catwoman standing next to her, right? We're agreeing that's Catwoman of some kind.
I agree, it's Catwoman. I suspect it is not Selena.
That's a fair assumption. That would make sense, because I don't understand why in a million years Selena would go along with any of this damn shit. Because I know in the past that we've played with her, oh, she's kind of a villain and blah, blah, blah.
Can't do that right now.
Yeah, I can't imagine why they would do that right now. And I also, I don't see how, I've not read the recent issues of Catwoman. I don't know what Lex offered her or whatever, but I don't know, it just doesn't really jive with me.
It doesn't track. And I agree. I'm assuming it's not Catwoman, not Selena, until I'm told otherwise. I mean, if someone tells me it is, and there's stuff been going on that we've been out of the loop on, it's kind of weird for Batman's story, and that we're doing a Batman and Catwoman book in like 3 months' time. But yeah, continuity be damned, eh?
Yeah. Also, Deathstroke's got like a mech suit as well.
Where's that?
Right in the middle.
Oh, I see him. I just kind of looked over him. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a giant mech like the Manta one, just a mech suit. It's more of an Iron Man-esque kind of thing.
To be fair, I actually quite like the design of that for Deathstroke.
They've actually got the Legion of Doom have got a mole in the Hall of Justice, and they know what their plan is, and so let's go show them what to do then. What we find out though is that they've actually manipulated the time stream so that when Starman sends back the teams to the future and the past, they end up in sort of different versions of the world that they weren't expecting to hit, possibly on alternate Earths, or possibly on versions of the future and the past that now exist because the Legion of Doom.
Some things have changed.
Yeah,
I suspect that more than alternate Earths in this case.
Obviously Jarro's delightful as per usual.
Oh, Jarro, to tell all those future Robins who the coolest one is. I mean, me, Jarro.
Yeah, so in the past, and it's like the 20s or whatever it is, New York or whatever, well, it might not be New York, I mean, it's DC, there's lots of cities this could be, but it's it's a city, it's a major city in the sort of 20s era, has giant, Doom symbol flags draped everywhere.
And it is New York, John does say it is New York.
Oh,
he recognizes the skyline.
And then in the future, it's because the future's the Trinity, because it's a Green Lantern and Flash.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a weird choice to pair them off like that. Like, don't get me wrong, like I like having a Flash and a Green Lantern pairing. It's a traditional pairing. It just seems weird to stack your three strongest together and not even out a bit.
But they were into Commandy in the future, so they've went pretty far into the future. And...
I will say, worst bit of art is on this bit in the future. Wonder Woman's face. I don't understand.
It's a triangle.
It is. It really is.
It's a triangle.
It's particularly bad.
The page with Commandy is pretty good though, with the
big tigers,
the tiger people behind them. Yeah, and I'm not a Commandy, but I've never really read any Commandy. I don't know anything about.
I've read one Commandy story.
Yeah. I think I might have read like a short in one of those anthology specials, maybe at one point.
Probably,
but that's about it. But so I actually thought that was the last page when I was reading this. I was surprised when I flipped the page that there was more story. I was like, oh, that wasn't the last page?
Because that felt like a big last page reveal. Like, don't get me wrong, maybe we don't care that much because it's Commandy, but it's still a big enough thing to end any normal comic. And
then there's some energy blasts, and then a green energy like around the Green Lantern and Flash.
A green flame in particular.
So the actual final page is the JSA, and it's you
in
got
the prime.
Yeah, you got Alan, you got Jay, you got Wildcat there, Sand, Airman.
Yeah.
Fate, yeah. Oh, and a Hawkman as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, obligatory though, right? He's always there.
Yeah, no, it's just GSA in the prime. So I don't know, maybe this is going to spin into an actual GSA book. I mean, I don't know if they've said that. I don't think they have yet.
Not officially, but I would not be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm such a fan of John's JSA, it is a shame to me not to have that legacy element and have like the younger
I mean,
characters.
there's no reason that they can't. It could be a case of, we're establishing it here now in the past and reminding these characters that this actually happened, and it's kind of going to become continuity again.
Okay,
In the same way they've been playing with all of Rebirth, and they can still do the legacy stuff.
It might. It does make me wonder though. Maybe they're actually syncing this stuff up with Doomsday Clock better than we were giving them credit for. Maybe,
maybe
because at this point they've got a rough idea of when the final Doomsday Clock's coming out, and they've been mapping. This, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And to be fair, this Doomsday Clock issue is only just over 2 months since the last issue. It's not that much of a gap compared to normal.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's longer than that, surely.
No, we checked.
That can't be right.
It's like 2 months and like 2 weeks or something like that. It's not. I don't think
it feels like it's been. Maybe it feels like it's been longer, but you could be right. I'm not that convinced of when it was. The last issue was at the end of May.
June, July. Okay, it's 3 months. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, well, even at 3 months, so it's still hitting before the end of the year. So
just about, yeah.
It's happening.
Wait. When's the last Wednesday this year? Because obviously last year they took that off, didn't they? Oh, the last Wednesday is Christmas Day. It might not hit this year.
Well, why are you assuming it's at the end of the month?
Just assuming. Has it even been solicited yet?
I don't think so. If it's just over 3 months, though, I mean, it would be like early to mid-December. And again, that's not going to be when it would be solicited. That's going to be when it would actually come out.
But I mean, the fact that it hasn't even been solicited yet, and we've had November solicits, right?
I mean, that could just be them actually being smart and like not soliciting until
unlike what they did with Shazam. Yeah.
Maybe they've finally learned a lesson and just decide not to solicit it until they know
next
it's going to be ready. Next one's going
to be real interesting to see if it's in December solicits.
See if it's in December solicits. It feels like a realistic solicit. Maybe it does. Maybe it'll get pushed a little bit, but it feels realistic.
It does feel realistic. They say it might push a bit more, but it's plausible. But we'll see.
Yeah. So that's a frustrating issue in Justice League. I like the gist of what the opening's doing. I do think it's far too exposition heavy. Same with the Lex and Perpetua stuff. The villain stuff wasn't necessarily doing much for me. I do like the back half of the issue a lot, though. The reveals when the plan actually gets going, because once the plan actually gets going, they stop writing so much goddamn narration and dialogue and just actually do the story. And surprisingly, it's actually pretty fun when they just do that.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the first half of this. I like seeing all the other characters interact a little bit more. I'm always down for throwing in some Guy. And
I glossed over him.
Was cool too. Yeah. And I liked those panels that you particularly hated. I think with the actual explanations. I love the art in the background, especially. So I like this more than you, unsurprisingly, as usual.
As usual, yes. This is the second last book I read, and it I always end up leaving Justice League till near the end because it does always end up being wordier than almost every other book I read. Honestly, it does feel a bit of a chore at times to get through it.
Oh, this was the first thing I read.
And yeah, those 2 pages of exposition with all those narration boxes, just too much.
On the other hand, Jaro, when he's like, oh, what am I gonna do? And stuff. I was treating him like kids. Like, Jaro, you're president of the plan. I was like, you bet I am.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't think Matt gave me Justice League thoughts, actually.
What?
No, not Justice League thoughts.
He mentioned something to me earlier in the week. So let me go see it in the Multiverse Facebook group comics thread. He was talking about it with me, so he's definitely read it. See if he said anything of interest.
This is thrilling radio. You searching for comments.
He was saying he's particularly annoyed about the things in Rebirth not lining up continuity wise, because you know what he's like about continuity, and and Justice League and Superman in particular, and how they're conflicting with what Doomsday Clock should have been.
Yeah. And given that we all love Doomsday Clock, it's clear that we'd rather they just follow Doomsday Clock's lead, but hey ho.
Yeah. It does sound like he liked Justice League. He said it's very wordy. The last third really makes it so. Probably agrees with you a bit more.
Yeah, it sounds like
it doesn't sound like he loves it, but he definitely really likes the last third.
Sounds like he's more in my train of thought. You know what? We're about to read it, right? And I hate that. I hate that the issue with the JSA like splash page where they're back. I hate that I'm not like glowing and praising about the whole issue. That kind of sucks because
that should have been next issue of Doomsday Clock's moment.
It should have been, but it should have also just been like a really big deal. It should have been something where I came out feeling super hyped about. And as it is, I think this is like a 7.
Oh, I'm giving it 8.5.
You can dunk yourself out. I'm giving it a 7. So that's Justice League, which will take us on to Batgirl issue 38. Cecil Castellucci writing with Carmine Giandomenico on the art. So we were quite into the last issue of this. I think this issue is not quite as tight as the last one. It's a little bit more
sprawling with the narration boxes.
Yeah. It also just jumps around the plot a little bit more. Whereas last issue it was like too clear, an A plot and a B plot, and they're moving in a nice order. It felt really tight in a structural level.
Yeah, and there was a bit with the Oracle stuff that actually confused me, where I thought they were implying one thing, and then like 2 pages later, I was like, nope, that doesn't seem to line up.
Yeah, because it's sort of jumping between things. I do generally like the issue though. I like a lot of what it's setting up. The terrible trio being a consistent mainstay, I'm digging. Them thinking they can trick this Oracle and like sell her for scrap and like sell the parts, only to find out that she's like really smart and will not be deceived.
Yeah, and then Lex called them unimportant. He was like, he hasn't heard our greatest hits: the Society heist, the Club Kid fiasco, and the Bitcoin betas. Yeah,
Bitcoin betas was particularly amusing to me.
Yeah.
And obviously we suspect that Babs might have created, this is like the AI she created to sort of like do some of the Oracle work that when she gave it up kind of thing.
Yeah, well that's what I had assumed, and then they start talking about the ancient Greek Oracle, and I was like, are they implying that this has been around, and that there was actually that Oracle?
I think that's just better by them speculating, and it's almost just for the joke of like the shark being that smart. Is that?
Yeah, it probably is, but it threw me. I was like, wait, is that what they're implying? And then it definitely doesn't feel like it anywhere else.
Yeah, so Batgirl got her outfit destroyed in the fight with Killer Moth, which she feels very embarrassed about. She goes home. She ends up like fashioning a new suit that's kind of a Frankenstein creation of like all of her
just stitched all these bits together. Like you got the a black cowl and like some bits of purple on there. And...
Yeah, it looks like the Burnside jacket, but spray painted grey. But then there's like one knee pad and it's the whole thing. And I suspect this will probably be a temporary suit. I imagine she'll get like a proper new suit.
Yeah, I like it in concept of, hey, I've just got to make one work. I don't have a spare.
Yeah. And Bard, there's an interesting part here actually where Bard gets really cute because Babs is like struggling at work. She's meant to write this speech for Alejo about tech, and she's like, oh god, she doesn't even know how to talk about tech. It's going to be really difficult. She's really tired and in pain. And Bard like notices bruises on her, and he gets very concerned. And he doesn't make a big deal of it, but I think it's really interesting to address the idea that she walks into like a public place after being beat up in a fight with a supervillain, and it looks like she's been beat up, and someone's like showing concern about it. Like, hey, do you want to talk about this? You've got bruises all over your face. It was an interesting thing to bring up. I'm curious to see if they do much more with this. She even takes him to her gym and says, "Oh no, I was just a bad training, bad sparring match. I got hit a bunch of times." So she kind of like explains it away, but it'd be interesting to see if he keeps thinking. I almost wonder if this is going to end up leading to him finding out who she is eventually.
It could do,
because he keeps digging or something like that. But yeah, so. I will say I like the art. Obviously, Giandomenico's really good. The one issue I have with the art, bizarrely, is when Oracle's going through like different vision modes, and she's looking at the terrible trio. The one that says it's X-ray, and then the one that says it's infrared spectrum. I felt like they swapped those two around by accident, because
where is that?
the infrared one has just got this sort of yellow kind of like, tint over it, and it's got a lot of shading and stuff. And that felt more thermal to me. And then the one that it says is infrared looks like it's see-through. It looks like you're seeing organs and shit. I think they actually swapped those captions around by accident.
X-ray, infrared. No.
What do you mean,
because on the infrared, think you can see the hearts in particular are lit up, and that wouldn't happen with an X-ray. They wouldn't be there at all. It would be a void space. The fact that they're showing up like that tells me that is infrared.
Yeah, I don't like that panel though. I think that's the worst panel of the whole book. Is that infrared panel?
I don't really have a problem with it personally.
I don't know, it just looks really messy. The shark head especially just looks. It's weird because the panel above it, the X-ray one, looks so good.
Yeah, I think it just looks weird because of what infrared looks like. It is kind of blurry, kind of figures. It is what it looks like, so it doesn't bother me.
So yeah, Babs basically wants to lure out Killer Moth, which she does, and her narration's all like, "Oh, to lure a moth, you have to have a bright light." Okay, it's essentially our whole shtick.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the Terrible Trio take this Oracle machine, this robot, to this dealer. They know
Ada,
yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to, open you up and get a bit of an insight of what's under the hood." And Oracle's like, "Oh, you're going to betray me. I don't trust you," and just kills her really brutally. And then the Terrible Trio go from.
There's a great line where it's like, intel gathered, human body breaks at 35% strength.
But this is the point where the Terrible Trio go from pretending to be working for her to probably working for her and genuinely out of fear.
Yeah.
Because now she can just deal with them. So they get Killer Moth. Batgirl tackles him out a window and whatever. And Bard's like giving Batgirl shit that she should also be locked up for causing all this damage. And so on and so on.
Yes, classic. You're a menace, Batgirl.
Yeah, which would also lead to the idea that he's going to find out who she is. That's another sort of breadcrumb. Is this idea that he hates Batgirl?
It's classic, isn't it?
But really is into Barbara. But yeah, it ends with Bab saying, "I'm going to have to turn on the Oracle system and see if I can figure stuff out, find out who the real enemy is, who was giving Moth this stuff." And it's a split page at the end where at the same time Oracle's like, "Oh, I've discovered who created me. I now have to ruin her." So now she wants to kill Batgirl. So
yeah,
they've set this up. Yeah, well, I'll see how the Oracle stuff goes. It's because what I like about it is the trio. The trio is what's making it fun for me. Is that in that plot?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But no, it's another solid issue. Maybe not quite as tight as the last one. So if I'm rating this one, I'm probably going with more of a 7.5 kind of thing.
I'll probably give it just a straight 7. I think it's just a bit too wordy. This I felt was wordier than Justice League. It seemed like this took me significantly longer to read than Justice League did.
No, it didn't for me, but I mean,
there's like if you look at that page of where they go to the gym, for example, there's so much narration and dialogue and everything, and that's fairly consistent throughout the book, just constantly. It's rare that there's pages of just action, and that's a shame with Giandomenico being so damn good. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't hate it. Obviously, it's still pretty good, but just a little disappointing after the last issue, I think.
Yeah, nothing from Matt on Batgirl. Clearly, he did just do his top 5 because he'd read Justice League and didn't give us anything for that. So, so he may have read everything that he was supposed to read. Yeah. But yeah, so that's Batgirl. That'll take Connor on to Justice League Dark issue 14 since Matt's not here. James Tynion IV writing with Alvaro Martinez on the art.
Yeah, so this opens with like a dream sequence. We have a page first. It's it's Diana. She's in bed and it talks about the magic of dreams. a little bit, and the moon in particular, and and how the moon, it's this mystical for guides that the tides. It's obviously it's just gravity, but it's that idea that there's this unseen power that it has um a significant influence on us that maybe we don't always realize, and it references that into Dream, and she's there, and she's in a burning house, it's, and Zatara's there, and Zatara's there on fire, and it's a phenomenally gorgeous image in just this horrifying way. He's sat at the table, and he tells her, "Oh, dreams are useful. There's a clarity in dreams. There's that knowledge that your mind processes that things that it might not have wanted to believe otherwise, or when you're implanted with an idea, you might believe, kind of like Inception, you might believe it's your own idea because it came in a dream." Um, and it just talks about how Zatanna's trying to save him, and he knows all about it. But that's not what he's here for. He's here to talk to her, Diana specifically, because she's got all this magic that she's attached to, and Dan's like, I let go of that, earlier in the book, after the witching hour, and he's like, oh no, it's not as easy as that. It's still there, and just because you think you've got rid of it doesn't mean it is, and your enemy can still use that. And she says, "Oh, the Upside Down Man," and then a couple of panels later, he appears, and creepy as ever. And it's like, damn it, you shouldn't have used his name. The Great Witching War is about to begin, and now wake up. But the wake up is backwards, as if it was an actual spell. And she does, and there's some gorgeously framed panels where she sits up, and the almost the camera motion rotates with her over a couple of panels. It looks great. She's just staring up at the moon, and she gets on the comms to Zatanna. She's like, "Oh, I just had the strangest dream," and they're like, "Oh, thank God, we've been trying to reach you for like an hour. We've got a shitload of vampires. We could have really used your help." And we could cut to them there. It's all of the team. We've got two fates. Obviously, neither of them wearing the helmet, but both of them using magic. Zatanna, Swamp Thing, Chimp, Man-Bat, all fighting these vampires, and it looks fantastic. But basically, hey, Wonder Woman, can you ring us back later? Kind of dealing with this. She's like, "Oh, well, do you need me there?" It's like, "Well, we're probably a bit late now. We're getting the hang of it." A lot of banter between the rest of the team. Kent and Khalid, training on the magic. Chimp being very annoyed that if he gets turned into a vampire, he's gonna bite all of them, and Man-Bat's a bit offended because he's like, you're basically halfway there already. Swamp Thing is creating stakes for them, like he's just popping them out of his body, going, "Here you go." But he is struggling. He talks about how this is a place of death. They've salted the ground, so he's struggling to grow. There's not enough nutrients for him, so they're running out of stakes. So the fates do basically create a small sun and burn all the vampires in there. And it's pretty great image again. The art in this book is top tier. It really is fantastic. We've got a small scene in the Oblivion Bar. Diana comes in, visits Constantine, to get some advice, going, "Hey, do you know what's going on?" And Constantine basically says, "Hey, it's someone you've got a history with. It's going to be all this, that, and the other." And basically, Diana comes to the conclusion it's Cersei. It's been her from the beginning behind all of this. And that's pretty much the end of her plot. There's a little page with the rest of them cleaning up in the church kind of place that they were fighting all the vampires. I think it was a church. There's like a little ferret or something that Chimp's having some problems with, and then the ferret runs off, and it's one of Clarion's familiars. And he seems to have Man-Bat under some sort of spell. So Man-Bat is a kind of an inside man. Not willingly, it seems. He definitely seems to be doing something to him. But Man-Bat is very self-doubting. He's talking about, he's a fraud, and what if they find out? And Clarion wants them to make you have to make it a new serum, a new Man-Bat serum that'll be particularly frightening. So we're probably going to get Man-Bat turned on them later, although obviously not entirely by choice. But then we follow Clarion. He teleports away, and we're in Jamaica, as we're told. And we've got Grundy, who is kind of half dead. I don't know where this happened. I don't remember seeing it like this, but he's kind of ripped apart. His brain's kind of exposed. He's not talking properly. He can't even say his name properly. Half his brain's rotted away. Is what we get. We got Papa Midnight here, the Floronic Man with Clarion, like we say, and then out steps Cersei, and basically say, hey, we're going to fight their Justice League Dark. The witching war's begun. We've probably got, they'll believe they've got enough to stand against, our power. But there's one more that we're going to recruit, and they're all going to fail. And this is where the moon imagery all comes back around, and it reveals that they're about to recruit Eclipso, which is a great last panel reveal. So this is the Injustice League Dark. I think they've been referring to them in the solicits. So it's Cersei, Grundy, Floronic Man, Clarion, Papa Midnight, and then soon to be Eclipso, which is just kind of cool. So yeah, I'm digging this. This issue was really great, actually. Art in particular was standout. Multiple scenes just utterly gorgeous, and the team banter is all on point when they're all together. It's great to see, and I'm really into this final tease. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. The Witching War is the name of this arc. This is part 1, so this is what we're doing for the next 6 or so issues, I imagine. Yeah, I'm into it. I give it a 8.5.
Matt said, Cersei proving to be a threat. I love how Tynion has Man-Bat on a Clayface story. Clarion had a bad haircut. Zombie Grundy. Chaos vampires. And then it's leading to Eclipso. My only problem is how this plays into the Justice League Suicide Squad stuff from 2016. Art was great too.
Oh yeah, Eclipso was a whole thing in that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the last time he was a big thing in anything.
Yeah.
I'll
be honest, I forgot that existed.
Well, luckily Matt's here to remind you.
Yes, he is our resident continuity wonk.
Well, I wasn't paying as much attention, so I didn't realise there was any contradictions. I remembered Eclipso in that story, though.
Yeah, I don't know if it is necessarily a contradiction, because I can't remember how that ended with Eclipso. Because at the minute, it's just, she said, "Oh, we're going to recruit Eclipso," and there's an image of the eclipse in the moon, the crescent moon, and that's traditional Eclipso imagery. But I don't know why this necessarily has to contradict that, because I can't remember how it ended.
Yeah, Matt gave it an 8.5 as well, so there you go.
Cool.
So we'll move on then to Dial H for Hero, which is issue 6. Sam Humphries writing with Joe Quinones on the art. And this issue is fairly straightforward. It's Summer becomes a superhero to try and sort out the city. Because everyone in the city became superheroes, there's a plane falling out of the sky, there's chaos in the streets, and all these new heroes don't necessarily know what they're doing. Some of them are causing more problems than good, not necessarily intentionally, just because chaos. And Miguel is inside the hero verse and is basically getting a pep talk that he has to kind of rise up and go and save people. That he's not useless. That he can become something special. He just has to believe in himself.
And he's given a new hero dial, the cyan hero dial, as opposed to the red. Although I suppose it won't be red, but eventually will it? It'll
Magenta.
Be magenta. Thank you.
Yes. What's the K? Because at the end we see that there's 4 slots, and obviously you have magenta, cyan, and yellow. But what's the K? What's the 4th?
I don't know, to be honest. I
don't know.
Black or white?
I guess, but it's got a name again, McKay. Just going by that page. So no, and Miguel becomes Miguel, or Super Miguel. Sorry, I was gonna say Miguel Man. Super Miguel.
Yeah.
and it's very Superman inspired, kind of ripping it off. All down to the fact of the original Dial H character doing Jor-El's speech from Superman the movie until the final line where he kind of sort of had to, fudge it. But
and he's off to save a plane, and he's like, Superman, please don't sue me for copyright infringement.
Yeah. So I really like, there's a few pages in this where they have like what Summer's doing in the city, just going around as this hero, like saving people. But they have like a second page overlapping it, so it's kind of hiding a lot of what she's doing. You just see like glimpses of it around the side, and you have Miguel in the Heroverse and a different art style, different coloring, having his conversation and getting his pep talk and like being convinced.
And it's literally a comic within a comic, because it even has its own credits page, by Humphrey and Quinones and stuff. It's great.
Yeah. So and the art even changes a little bit when he shows up. It's a lot more. I want to say it almost wants to be Alex Ross. They're sort of emulating like an Alex Ross kind of
because there was a page of that same style right at the start, the title page. It reminded me of like Astro City.
I can see that. And he's trying to like hold up the plane, but he's failing. He loses a part of it. An engine explodes, and ultimately he's trying to convince himself that he can do this. And ultimately, it's actually 2 or 3 other heroes from the city who have also been made by the Dial, who eventually get up there and like help him carry it. So it's strength in numbers, unity, so on. But my favorite part of this though is after they land the plane in the park, the next page you just see what he's landed in front of, and he's kneeling in front of the Superman statue with the with the Falcon or whatever, or the Eagle probably. It's probably an Eagle. Yeah. That was a really nice moment. Like the way this is connected to his love of Superman and his like want to be Superman and like respect of Superman has really been the heart of the book for me. I think
it has, and I'm so glad we're getting more. We're getting at least another 6 issues.
Yeah,
but this doesn't feel like they changed plans at all to accommodate for that. This feel like no, this was what the final issue always would have been. It's just we're getting more.
Yeah, although there is some setup with Mr. Thunderbolt.
Yeah, there's a couple of, but that tease could have been there anyway and just been like, oh, and it was like, oh, maybe, the next mini we'll get that. And they just extended it. But most of the issue feels like, no, this was a natural conclusion. And then, oh, hey, here's a tease for some more stuff. And I'm absolutely okay with that.
Yeah, so he's going to try and get all the phones. And what happens once he gets all the phones? Well, he says he's going to, take over the multiverse. But, I mean, exactly how is something we'll learn. And that's the big tease at the end. No, really fun. I've enjoyed this mini a lot, and I was not expecting much from it before it came out. I was pleasantly surprised, and I actually think it's gotten tighter as it went along as well. I think I liked the first couple issues, but it definitely felt a little bit more all over the place with all the introductions.
Humphries has been solid. Like I say, he's got better as it's gone on, and it's got a little bit of heart to it, and the writing's solid. But Quinones is the hero of this book.
Oh yeah,
undoubtedly.
All the different art styles, the way it integrates them and mixes them up, all that stuff is just next level.
It's spectacular. It really is.
And it's not even like he's just returned to the same 2 or 3. Like every issue has got a new style that's not been there before.
Yeah, and this issue in particular, with all the heroes, is all over the place in a great way.
Yeah, there's that joke page where it's like a double page spread where it's like all the different random heroes, and the not narration, but the speech bubble saying this is this hero, they became this with the power of the H. It's about to do the flashback origins for all of them,
stories,
but you don't get them because there's too many, so it keeps cutting itself off.
Yeah, but then like the page after that, you have like a panel with like 6 or 7 heroes on it, all in different styles.
And also
it's great.
As he's trying to lift up the plane as well, he he remembers that speech from Superman about he can't save all of us. You promise you'll help, kind of thing. That's kind of what inspires him to, get the job done. Delightful stuff. I am going to go as far as say this is a 9 out of 10.
I'll agree. I'll give it the 9. I think the art in particular pushes it up.
Yeah. So there you go. Which does take us on to the final book of the week, and that is Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 2. Sean Murphy writing and art, of course.
I bet Matt's left notes on this one.
He has indeed. So more flashback stuff about how
Quite extensive flashbacks this issue as well.
how the Wayne of the time was kind of roped into training to become a Castlevania character.
Yeah, it starts with him. He's living in London, and the knight. What was his name? Braca, something like that. Bacchus. It was something along those lines.
Isn't that the priest who frees him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he kind of recruits him as like, hey, we need you to go to Gotham.
Yeah, and this is clearly the lineage of Azrael, right? Or the Saint Damas.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, we have to go and take care of the Arkhams in Gotham. And you've got claim to this land because of your lineage. And him like chopping off heads and stuff out in the carriage.
When he's on the carriage, and all the ninja stars come flying out. Oh, what a panel! And then the panel beneath it when the knight's helmet comes flying off with the decapitation.
Yeah, and he's training on the boat on the way there, and then the flashback ends with them just about to arrive at Gotham, and then we find out that Bruce. This is the thing that Alfred left for Bruce. He's reading this this journal, and then we're introduced to this character, this woman who basically insists that he not reveal who he is to the world. That she actually works, she basically works for all the elites, as Napier put it. Where, like, not only will all of his criminals be released because they were caught by Batman or whatever, and not only will Wayne Enterprises, all of the employees of Wayne Enterprises lose their jobs, but the entire economy will probably be crippled, and thousands, if not millions, of people in the city will end up losing their jobs because Bruce Wayne actually coming out as Batman would completely, alter the foundation of everything. Yeah. And she gets very, in his face about
it. Very blunt.
And he wants to expose her. And of course, the big thing here is that Gordon announces that he's going to run for mayor. But right as he's doing this, Joker shows up. He gets arrested, but he reveals that Barbara's Batgirl before he does so. As he does so. He's actually on his face is down on the ground. He's been handcuffed.
Yeah, Gordon's got him already, and it's too late.
Yeah, and he's not. Obviously, Gordon's not happy about this when he speaks to Barbara about it, about all these lies. He's not happy about Batman either for being a part of this secret. Jean Paul is building a little team to go after Batman.
Yeah, they're going to take out the key players. He's got a sniper, demolitions expert.
Mm-hmm. Got a nice little team building, and that's actually kind of what the issue builds up to. Not to gloss over where Batman goes to see Harley, who's pregnant. Just drop that on us, of course. But Azrael gets all geared up with his team, and he has them all kind of wear his colors, and
that full page of him with the flaming sword, the rifle, all in full uniform. Holy shit, that's a gorgeous image.
It's very nice. So what this issue is really building up to is them attacking the Batcave, and they've hacked in, and they basically turn on every Batmobile and Batplane and get them firing, so that it's just chaos in the Batcave. Batman's able to kind of detach one of them from the net, basically, so that it can't be affected. Rips out his computer. So he has one Batmobile that he tries to escape on. It's a great action sequence. It's him bursting. You see the dinosaur goes over. So it's just absolutely. It feels epic. It feels like the entire Batcave is just
pure carnage. And and as the fan pages were driving away, the whole of Wayne Manor seems to be going up.
Yeah, it's blowing up. So this is some sort of deconstruction of Batman where he's thinking of revealing who he is, but he's kind of changed his mind. Gordon didn't want him to, but now he does. Because of what he's found out about Barbara. It's basically this idea that at some point in these flashbacks, it looks like we're going to see the Wayne betray, because the Azrael, the masked guy wants half of Gotham, and as far as we know, he never gets it.
And John Paul's like, that Batman, he stole it all from us.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, not Batman, Bruce Wayne specifically. But,
So. A lot of fun action in there, a lot of good art, because Murphy's great, as per usual. I didn't like this issue as much as the first one, I think, because it didn't feel like there was enough in the middle for me. The middle stuff felt like it was a lot of a hodgepodge of all these little things. The ending's great, and the opening flashback's great.
I love this issue. All those things that are in the middle that you're saying a bit of a hodgepodge, I thought were all fascinating in setting up these plot threads as where we're going.
That's fair. I thought it was really good. It wasn't as tight for me as structurally speaking as the first issue.
Fair enough. I will say is, holy crap! I'd read a book of just the flashbacks.
Sure.
Like just that story released. You could have written that, and I'd have been so into it.
I'm not wearing my Arkhamvania shirt, but
it would have been appropriate.
There's a reason why I named the episode last month with the first issue of this Arkhamvania. It was the obvious choice. It was the only choice for that episode. Let's see what Matt says, shall we? About it. Very, very broken up, simple thoughts here. Everything with Azrael, conflicted Bruce, Joker playing both sides, pregnant Harley, ? That's all he said.
Okay. I missed all of that because everything froze. I thought everything had cut out, and I don't know if I was frozen on your end.
No.
I was checking. See, I thought my internet gone. Like everything just completely stopped. We were still talking about something last time I was saying something.
Okay. Well, no. He basically just summed up the various things. He's shocked at pregnant Harley, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What did he give it?
You give it a 9.
You give it a 9. Okay.
What are you giving it?
I'm also giving it a 9.
I'll give it an 8. So there you go. Curse of the White Knight. See how that goes. So there you go. That was the last book. That is actually all of the 10 books that we were going to talk about today. Of course, Matt will be back next week, and this is taking us on to our section where we pick our favourite stuff of the week, top 5, do our best panel / moment, best art, and best cover. So as I get up diamonds so I can look at the covers, what was your moment / panel of the week?
Oh, that's tough. There's a few good ones, but and I want to be, I want to pick something from Dial H, like that Superman. I want to pick something from White Knight, like the big Azrael moment. But I'm going to be a self-parody. I'm going to pick the JSA. What are you going to do?
That was a great page. I don't think I can give it to it, though, just because the issue, I don't think it built up to it just quite as well as I wish it had. I'm actually going to go with Dial H. I'm going to go with that page of him in front of the Superman statue. Like that moment of realizing that he's just done something that Superman would do.
It's a phenomenal moment.
It's a beautiful moment. So that's my pick. Cover of the week. Actually, no, Matt's moment. Toss up between Legion of Superheroes and Superman and GSA and Justice League. That is so self-parody. It's
Do you know what's really bad is we're talking about all this. I forgot the Legion was this week as well because that was so long ago that you mentioned that.
So that's the thing. So no, that's cool. Best cover of the week. What you got?
I'm looking now because it's basically boils down to either the Middleton Batgirl variant or one of the White Knight covers, to be honest, because I love both of those.
I think the action variant's pretty solid. For me, it's the Batgirl variant. For Matt, it's actually the Batgirl variant. Says White Knight variant is good too, but Batgirl's his pick. Batgirl's my pick too.
Just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna go with the regular cover for White Knight. But I mean, only because I'm just being different.
Art of the week, go.
Oh, that's so unfair this week because you got Murphy, you got Marquez, you got Quinones, you got Giandomenico. Oh man, so many good artists. I don't even think Martinez on Justice League Dark. I'll give it to Murphy, probably, but all of them on other weeks, all of them could have won.
Okay. I'm going to go with Murphy as well, but
it is one of those weeks. There are some weeks where none of them are particularly stand out, and you go, well, that one was probably the best. And then there's weeks like this where there's 4 or 5 genuinely great art. artists at work, and you're like, oh man, this is unfair to some of them.
Yeah. Matt, we picked Murphy, but he did add. But Jimenez was pretty damn good too. Actually, why is this not giving me the full sentence? Come on. Yeah, as was Kudranski in action. Yeah, action was pretty good too. Like if I was listening, and he also loved Marquez and Batman Superman. So again, he had like 4 picks that he could have went with.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks, isn't it?
All right, top 5 books. I always make Matt go first, so I'll do his first. So his number 1 was Curse of the White Knight. His number 2 was Justice League Dark. His number 3 was Action Comics. His number 4 was Superman, and his number 5 was Batman Superman. What's your top 5?
Curse of the White Knight, Dial H, Justice League Dark, Justice League, and Wonder Woman. And it's a really nice, solid week when I genuinely love all my top 5 books.
Yeah. My number 1 is Action Comics. My number 2 is Dial H for Hero. My number 3 is probably Batman Superman. Number 4, Curse of the White Knight. Number 5, Wonder Woman. Yeah, I'll go with that. I had a lot in a very similar place after the first couple. I had to really think about where I was. I mean, it was obviously not going to be Flash. It was obviously not going to be Justice League for me. But
yeah,
so that's what it is. There you go. So I will tell you what's coming next week.
Probably not much because it's a week 1, right?
I mean,
there is Doomsday Clock.
It's a bit different. They've been a bit different recently. So yeah, coming next week we have Batman vs Ra's al Ghul number 1. That's the start of a mini.
Yeah, that's a Neil Adams one, right? So we'll be skipping that.
Yeah, I can remember what it was. We have Deceased: A Good Day to Die issue 1. So that's just the one shot,
aka the Deceasing.
Yeah, you've made that joke every single time.
That's because it's there as the cover, and I wanted.
Can I just finish the list? Do you have to cut in with a comment for everyone?
Yes. Well, I wasn't going to, but now I am.
Deathstroke 47 is out. We also have Doomsday Clock 11, of course, which is the main event of the week, easily. We have Green Lantern 11. We have Harley Quinn 65. We have Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy issue 1 of 6. That many starts next week.
I didn't realize that was starting as early as it is.
Which one is that? Because there's like 3 Harley books starting.
That's the Jodie Hauser one.
That's the Hauser one. Okay, cool. We will probably definitely be trying that then. Justice League 31 is out, so you can tell that 30 was delayed because 31's already
back to
good
back.
To go.
Yeah.
We got Legion of Superheroes Millennium issue 1, so obviously me and Matt will be reading that. Bendis. Lois Lane issue 3 is out, of course. And we have Superman Up in the Sky, which is the Tom King Superman book. I'm still reading that, so I'll be checking
out.
You
know what? That's a fairly busy week after all that. With the new books added, things that are going on, and they're not. It's not a huge amount of books, but there's a lot of big books in there.
I think I've got like 6. No, 7. I've got 7 books. Yeah, so that's an average week, I'd say.
It is, but when one of them's Doomsday Clock, I mean, that counts for like 3 books worth of discussion on its own.
But hey, so that's what's coming next week. Oh, and I did ask people on Twitter what their favorite stuff of the week. I should have done that before I told you it was coming next week, admittedly. But I did remember. So
very, very late, much like when you asked.
Right. Give me peace. At K_dog338800, Batman Superman is the only choice for the book of the week. Joshua Williamson has the perfect voices for the Batman and Superman dynamic. The way Superman, it actually says the way Duperman describes Batman's personality just by his Batcave is perfect. At Comb Factor, my favourite was Batman Superman issue 1. Great to have a book focusing on their friendship again. I am really excited to see where the book goes. At Carve_Nelson says, nothing stood out for me, but a lot of good books like Justice League and Freedom Fighters. Still need to read Justice League Dark. Batman Superman was better than I expected. So a lot of praise for that. And then a sort of jokey one here just to round out. At Glenn Reads Comics said, can I nominate a Marvel book this week? And I said, sure, whatever.
Well, hang on. Before you get there, if it's not Thor, the final issue of Aaron's Thor, not counting King Thor, then then they're doing it wrong. It's not Thor, is it?
Not even close. Honestly, because I always thought this was a DC podcast, haha. But since I have your approval, my book of the week goes to Venom 17. Part of the Absolute Carnage story arc, this book is the culmination of a few different tie-ins, well plotted, well executed, and just plain damn fun. So
I have to admit, I haven't read that yet, but I am looking forward to the first issue of Absolute Carnage caught me off guard on how freaking good it is. Like, holy shit. And I don't care about Carnage. I don't give a shit. But man, that issue was fantastic. So, fair enough. I mean, there's no Thor, but fair enough.
All right. So, yeah, you can, of course, support the podcast by rating us on your podcast app. Usually Apple Podcasts is one of the most popular ones. Give us 5 stars on there. Let us know what you thought of the books, of course, in the comments and all that stuff. And like and subscribe, all the usual things. As we said earlier, go to Patreon. That is us. Check out all the stuff we do. Of course, we have a bunch of movie podcasts and TV shows that we review every week.
We had an extensive section at the start talking about screens.
We did. So check out all that other stuff. And yeah, this has been episode 170 of Comics from the Multiverse. So we'll see you next time for 171. But keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.